Greetings, everybody. It's Jim. A few weeks ago, I gave away a free adventure for the Fantasy Trip role-playing game called Sorcerers at Smokewater, which is easily adaptable for Dungeons & Dragons. The link's down below so you can still download it. But today, I'm going to be talking to you about another adventure that I came out with shortly thereafter. I just hadn't made a video about it until now. But today, I'm going to be talking to you about why you should be downloading the free RPG adventure Awakening the Ogre by yours truly. By the way, everybody, my latest video for the world's greatest screen got 1,300 likes in 3 days, mainly because a lot of people liked the video. It got over 50 likes, and boom, it just went up like crazy. And as a result, now I've got 1,400 subscribers. So please, by all means, hit that like button and subscribe. One of the differences between Sorcerers and Smokewater and this adventure, Awakening the Ogre, is that Sorcerers and Smokewater was an introductory adventure, and it was meant to be more story-based, to get the characters some background, right? So it's an adventure, of course, and it's got 3 wizards that you got to fight, but by the time you're done, there's so much interaction with people that you meet and the things that would happen because you met them early on. They would affect this, it would affect this, and it would be like ping, 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 and a lot of moving parts, okay? By the time you're done, you get to the epilogues, the part that I'm really proud of with those, because there's a lot of them. Your character not only would have a background from a blank slate, but will also definitely have, hopefully, a few adventure hooks as well. Somebody would in your group, and you would have more than just 4 characters by the end, too, because hopefully, because they're beginning characters, some of them would get beat up, and in true Fantasy Trip fashion, you actually have to take them out of the game to let them heal naturally, because healing spells just do not exist in the Fantasy Trip. So it really made it really well. Now, the thing is about Awakening the Ogre is it's more of a traditional fantasy adventure, much based off of David Pulver's work in gaming ballistic adventures for the Fantasy Trip. Okay, everything's pretty much sectioned out. Much easier to write. I found out by using his format, it was much easier to write than my ping pong method that worked finally, but man, was there a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of moving parts. Here, there's a lot of things going on too, but they're sectioned out. It's just a lot easier to edit. Now, his adventures, like the Dragon Hunt adventure over here, that basically had, you know, every spot that you would go to had a dragon theme. It definitely wouldn't always have a dragon to fight, but it would be a theme around it in some way, shape, or form. Awakening the Ogre is kind of based on that same idea. Now, there is something I learned between making Sorcerers at Smokewater and Awakening the Ogre, is the idea that, you know, I played a lot of Death Test 1 and 2 in that time. And I just love the idea that Steve would use the melee map exclusively for Death Test 1, and for Death Test 2, he'd use nothing but the wizard map, which quite honestly, I found out there's enough room on that for any battle. You just switch things around, you got a new room, whether you're having a barroom brawl, somewhere deep in a cavern, or outside in the wilderness. It doesn't matter, that's all you have to do. There's no reason necessarily to have the break out the mega hexes all the time. Now, I did that in Awakening the Ogre, which is fine, though, because a lot of those battles were smaller. It only took a few seconds to put together. The only ones that actually took some more time to put together are the wizard battles, which is kind of understandable at that point because they are special battles. And there are some configurations that you can't do on a melee or a wizard map that the mega hexes definitely call for. But efficiency here, you can just lay out the wizard map and go through Awakening the Ogre and play any of these battles. There's only like 3 maps, and you can just, it's used for multiple battles. That's another thing that David Pulver did. He would use one map and use it for multiple battles. And actually, that's what Steve did in the Death Test as well, actually. He's done that multiple times, like, okay, refer to a map on 36, which we use for 3 different battles. You know, it wouldn't switch up too much. So I definitely did that here, and it made the game more efficient, not just to write, but for you also to play. So here we have Dean Spencer doing the artwork for the cover, and I really like Dean's art. It's really solid, crisp, and clean. I use it in Dungeon Runner. I used it in the other adventure sorcerers at Smokewater. I just really like his stuff, mainly because it fits all genres, no matter what style of Dungeons and Dragons or fantasy trip, fantasy role-playing game you're playing. Basically because I think a lot of it has gotten, ever since third edition, it's become more and more comic book like. And I'm not saying that's bad, I'm just saying it's not my style. It's gone definitely towards more fantastical, high powered such stuff, while maybe some of the older school stuff definitely lends itself to low powered campaigns. Here, with Dean's artwork, it always feels like it could go in either direction, but the characters don't look outlandish, but they don't look, like they just come out of some barbarian tribe. So he's really got a good grip on art, and that's why I use him. So one of the coolest thing about the adventure is actually ironically, the same thing that got it knocked off of Steve Jackson's list. I sent it to him, and he just came back. As soon as he started looking through it, he told me he's going to finally look through it. And a few hours later, he's like, I can't use it because of X, Y, and Z. And it's mainly the main part of the story, which is, I can understand it. He said he didn't want to cross the streams. And that's the only hint that I can give you about it. Why? Because I didn't want to spoil this for anybody, because I think it's a pretty cool surprise. And it will be a better surprise if actually you're game mastering this with people. The thing is, if you are playing it, your peripheral vision might catch something. It's not pictures or anything like that, but it might catch something to give you more of a hint of what's lying in the future. And you go, oh, that's where he's going with it. But the thing is, when Steve found that out, he's like, oh, I can't use that. Mainly because the thing is, when he makes a product, it's going to be considered, verbatim, official, to a lot of people. So they'll be like, oh, that's the official part of Seedry now, or this is an official rule or something that can happen. And he's like, he wanted to stay far away from it. So, but the thing is, it would have been one thing if it was just a small side portion or side quest that I could just easily edit out. Like I said, the Awakening Ogre, doing it the David Pulver way, it was actually much easier to edit. With Sorcerers at Smokewater, it would really be tough to do. Maybe it would, for the most part. But not only, even though I could take it out, I really didn't want to. It was the whole point of the adventure, and it's a cool idea, and I didn't want to let it go. So to give you an idea of contrast between the two modules, Sorcerers at Smokewater took me about 1.5 years to make, on and off. Not just because of time, but I was really working hard on it. It definitely took a lot of time. While Awakening the Ogre from start to finish took me only 3 months. So I definitely would have preferred to do the David Pulver's version of it, because it was much easier to edit, just easier in all kinds of ways. And that includes making the maps, just very straightforward. And I think, even though I think the payoff was worth it for Sorcerers of Smokewater in a lot of ways. One, it was my first adventure, and yeah, I did things the hard way. But two, I made something kind of unique there, and I'm not going to say I don't love it. I mean, because it's so hard to do, it definitely is unique. Now, am I going to do that again? I think I'd rather do Awakening the Ogre part, just because the payoff's good there too. It's just that I don't know I have the time to actually go through and make something as complicated as Sorcerers at Smokewater again. But either way, folks, download both of these adventures, and please leave a comment to me. Go on DriveThruRPG, leave a rating. And just let me know, am I doing a good job there? What could I improve on? What do I have right on? How much do you like it? Should I make another adventure? You let me know. I really need to hear from you on this. So that's the video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot, everybody.